Hey, this is Jason Mott. If you want your baseball news, listen to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer with JJ and Vince.
Welcome to episode 129.
Nine.
Nine. I do know some German. Now I'll get to that in the beer corner, okay? So
Ooh.
anyway, episode 129. Make sure that you like us on Facebook. Those of you who are um, oh watching us on the YouTube channel, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. You can support us through Patreon. Go to patreon.com. You search for One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer, and you can support our efforts. It's greatly appreciated. If you'd like to reach us via email, it's one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, I think we're going to do a panel next week. So if you'd like to be on that panel, let us know. We'll put you on the panel. We're going to talk about the first month of the baseball season, not just our teams, but kind of how the baseball season's going, sprinkle some of that in there. So if you desire to be a guest, let us know. Either email us, reach out to us through one of our platforms, or smoke signals. I mean, good old
Yeah.
smoke signals. Still works good. JJ, how are you doing?
It's pretty good. Doing pretty good. I don't know if you heard
You
today.
look better than last week, I can tell you that.
I have been. It's been rough. Faith went to the urgent care. Brody went to the urgent care. Faith's dad. Uh, Faith got bronchitis. Brody had an aerosol treatment. Faith on a Z-Pack. It's just been rough, man. I don't know what's going on. And then today we had thunderstorms down here in Potosi, and they didn't say a tornado's touched down, but on Potosi's not very big. On one side of the town, the elementary building took a lot of damage. No kids were hurt. They have a bunker they got the kids into, and all the kids were okay. That's what I've heard. There's a gym next to that. The roof came off, and the steeple in the church came off on that side of town. But the rest of us, there was flash flooding going on, and our basement got flooded. A lot of, if you see the videos, there's one, the town's on a hill, and the bottom was just a river going down by the library. So, from what I've heard, everybody's okay. I hope everybody's safe out there, but it's been a crazy spring with tornadoes and just flooding and whatnot. But the town seems to be back to normal now.
Yeah. Yeah, Violet sent us a text from school. She goes to school in Springfield in Missouri State, and they had a tornado there that wiped out a Panera.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Well,
I
it
mean,
could always be worse. Thank
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, and that probably wouldn't have happened if they would have stayed the St. Louis bread company. But no, they had to branch out everywhere else and call themselves Panera.
Fancy, fancy schmancy.
So, JJ, do you know what time of the month it is?
Well, we're down to the end of the month. Oh, it's one and only beer corner time of the month.
Beer corner time.
Oh, beer corner
And
time.
going to Germany.
Ah,
I am going to look at the Yingling Golden Pilsner.
oh, very nice.
Let me get that better. Yingling Golden Pilsner.
Yeah, got an eagle on there.
Yeah. Generations of brewing. Blah 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 blah. So anyway, let me kind of go through this. The story of Yingling is the story of the American spirit.
Yes.
Aha. Uh, It is a tale of shared dreams, individual tenacity, and an unwavering dedication to standards of quality, because we like quality in our beer. Like many American stories, it starts amid the dreams of countless young immigrants looking for the opportunity and emerges from the strength and will of one family determined to build their legacy in a new country. That is a long run-on sentence, but I didn't
Sure.
write it. That's their release, so sorry. The story of America's oldest brewery, the Yingling Brewery is the oldest brewery, uh, began when David G. Yingling arrived from Wittenberg, Germany, to settle in the sleepy coal mining town of Pottsville, Pennsylvania in 1828, back when JJ was just a little kid. Uh, and he brought his family recipe to Germany. Yingling Golden Pilsner was actually born in 2018 from 6 generations of brewing expertise by D.G. Yingling and Sons, Inc., America's oldest brewery. This highly sessionable beer is our interpretation of an outstanding modern Pilsner. Golden in both name and color, Yingling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth, thirst-quenching refreshment. So I've got my world's greatest Grandpa Frosted mug here, and we will pour this Golden Pilsner.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Whoa!
Man, look out.
Look at that. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And let's see what we got here.
All right. This is the moment he takes it in. Everything, the smell, the sound, the taste.
2.5.
Whoa, there was some suspense there. 2.5. So is 2.5 one that you would drink again? Or just,
Nah, there's better. There's beers I like better. But I'll drink it once.
Okay.
But yeah, there's beers I like better. With all this rain, we have these little black ants coming in to my office.
Yeah.
So if I accidentally just slap something, I'm killing ants. I'm not practicing to replace Ringo and the Beatles. So Ringo's still alive.
Oh yeah, 2 of them left, Paul and Ringo. Yeah, he tours with his all-star band. Do you know who his brother-in-law is? His wife's sister married a famous musician too.
No, I don't.
Joe Walsh
Really?
is Ringo's brother-in-law.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that? He played on his last album too. Ringo had an album out last year.
Did they meet on the Rocky Mountain Way?
I don't know where they. Yeah,
in the city.
In the city. Yeah, in the city. Very good. Vince, I'm getting old. I can hurt myself on anything. Get a load of this. I made myself these bratwursts with cheese in them. Oh, that sounds good, man. You could hear them sizzling. I bit into it, and the juice. There was so much juice that shot up my nostril and burned my nostril. What the heck? I can't even be around a bratwurst now without getting hurt. Good night.
My favorite pizza is a place in Bethalto, Illinois called Roma's Pizza. I've been going there since 1982 when I was in high school, and a girl I was dating introduced me to it. But even just a couple weeks ago, when we went to Alton to do trivia, we made a stop in Bethalto and picked up a couple Roma's pizzas and went over there. But it's the family's from Sicily, and the Sicilian way of making pizza is you don't have a whole lot of sauce. They don't pile it with sauce. It's just kind of a glaze of sauce, and they put the cheese and the toppings on. Well, so the cheese can come off easily. So my former sister-in-law, she went to take a bite of the pizza and bit it and pulled the crust off, but the cheese came down and got her in the chin, and she had a perfect blister from the pizza burning her chin.
Oh man, when food attacks.
So,
hey Vince, is that place like Roma Deli? Is it the same Roma Deli?
No, it's an independent place. Yeah.
Okay,
it's really good. So
I'll have to try that out.
JJ,
yes,
I know we're going to talk about this, so let's the most exciting part.
All right.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has listed their 2025 inductees. Have you heard this list?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I don't have it. I don't know if I have it memorized, but there's some surprises, and there was some left off. I was a little surprised by too.
This may be my favorite list because it's really eclectic here as far as it's picking up. I'll just go in alphabetical order here. First off is Bad Company. Paul Rogers, his group
Classic.
After Three.
One of the greatest male singers ever.
Love, Rock and Roll Fantasy.
Yes.
Bad Company.
Shooting Star.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Paul Rogers is one of the greatest, has an awesome voice.
Smooth.
So Bad Company, grew up listening to Bad Company, and I remember there used to be a skating rink we would go to once a week, and they had a DJ booth and everything. And one of the posters in the DJ booth was Bad Company, and it said, "Does your mama know that you're keeping bad company?"
Oh,
It's like an 8-year-old. I was like, "Yeah, so cool."
Yeah, that is cool.
Company.
Very.
Second one, going in alphabetical order, that I was surprised wasn't in there, is Chubby Checker.
Yeah.
So long.
I mean, this is a award for he did tour and so many shows, and kept the spirit of rock and roll. I won't put him up there with Little Richard and Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly, but he's from that era, and he had a couple of big hits. Both, I think, mentioned in Twist, maybe some more, but God love him. Good for him.
Okay. Number 3 in alphabetical order is Joe Cocker. I don't mind Joe Cocker going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I really don't. But I'm just saying, if Joe Cocker and Linda Ronstadt are in, why isn't Three Dog Night in? And the argument is Three Dog Night did not write their own songs. Joe Cocker and Linda Ronstadt did mostly covers.
Yes. Beatles.
The only Joe Cocker song I could think of that was pretty big that wasn't a cover was When the Night Comes. And I'm sure he didn't write it because he let's face it, he drank a lot. So, but I'm happy he's in, but I just, don't understand this. We'll put other people who do mostly covers in, but we won't put Three Dog Night in because they didn't write their own material.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with Three Dog Night. I thought they had, what was it, Vince, like a 5 or 6 year stretch where they were on top of the charts for half a decade.
Yeah, the early 70s, from like 69 to 74, they were probably the biggest as far as consistent, maybe behind Led Zeppelin, but they were really big. All these hits, and but anyway. So I've decided I'm not going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame anymore.
Boycott. Joe Cocker had a tour, some Englishmen and Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and a lot of people were in that tour with him. And it was, I'm trying to think of the piano player, but he's one of the all-time greats. Played for him. What is it?
Beethoven?
No, it's not Beethoven. But not quite Beethoven, but it was, golly, I can't think of his name, but he just at the end of his life he did an album with Elton John because Elton John was such a fan of his. And but anyway, that tour kind of took him to another level. And and late in his life he had hits like the song from Officer and Gentleman and When the Night Comes and all that stuff. So he stretched a long period and a great voice. And he was at Woodstock, so good for Joe Cocker. But Three Dog Night, maybe, hey, let's start a groundswell here. We're all going to write in a campaign to get Three Dog Night in the Hall of Fame.
And I think there's only one of those dogs left living, too.
One of the dogs left.
Anyway, next we have Miss Lauper, Cyndi Lauper. Did not have a long career, but she had a very influential career. And from that period of like 83 until 87 or so, she was really big. And yeah. I know you want her in there because she was in the first WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's right. Wendy Richter's manager.
Mm-hmm. So next, I love this band. They're kind of quirky. And they have 2 lead singers, and it's almost like 2 groups in one, and that's Outkast.
Yes.
So I was, Outkast is in. That's pretty cool.
They're original. I don't know how long their excellent spanned, but their albums are very unique, one of a kind, and they probably were very influential. That's one of the categories. How influential were you? And they were very influential band.
Yeah. And this next band is one that I said a few months ago when we did our rock music thing that I think they belong in the hall. They're finally in Soundgarden.
Yes.
wonderful music. Chris Cornell is just my favorite all-time rock singer ever.
Hey, all right.
And finally, the White Stripes. Um, it will be interesting to see if uh,
Meg.
Meg joins Jack when you know, I know they haven't played together forever, so and usually they play a few songs, I think 3 songs, and so that'd be kind of cool. But I really like this because it did pull from a lot of different subgenres of rock and roll. You got like classic rock, Chubby Checker, the old guy, Joe Cocker, the hippie, Cyndi Lauper, the new wave kind of
Yeah, there you
thing,
go.
Outcast, just kind of a really cool uh, rhythm and blues, rap, just a variety of sounds from them. Soundgarden, your very classic grunge band, and the White Stripes, who's more of a stripped down. I'd kind of even put them in prog rock. You know, they don't have the big
Oh,
sound of prog rock, but
yeah.
that kind of that genre. So uh, I was happy with that. Anybody you would have liked to see in there?
Billy Idol. I thought Billy Idol. I think the in the fan vote, Fish, who has a huge following as far as their touring. I know, Vince, I can't name one song by them, but I know they're sort of a Grateful Dead kind of in that vein. But I don't know much about them, but evidently they're pretty good. They've been around a long time and they won the fan vote. But I don't know, maybe their fans put a really went crazy in the ballot box. But Billy Idol was the one. I think, if you match him up against a few of these people, I go Billy Idol. I think Billy Idol was phenomenal. And he has that 5 or 6 year run too, where it was just hit after hit after hit. Great tour. Steve Stevens, one of the better guitar players ever. I love Steve Stevens, so that was a great band. But next year maybe it's Billy Idol's year, so that'd be fun then.
Yeah. Um, oh, is it the video? Got to be a lover where he's in the boxing ring.
I think you're right.
Is that's a great video.
Oh yeah, Dancing with Myself, Eyes Without a Face. Man, there was the man White Wedding put him on the map. That's when I first heard of him. And then I went
Yeah.
back with that. I think he had a group called Generation X or
Yeah,
something like
he was
that.
with Generation X from England and broke away from them.
Oh yeah, he was just I don't know, just kind of. I thought he was cool. Rebel Yell. Now that's a classic right there. Rebel Yell. Come on,
Now, the first song I remember him is "Hot in the City," which I
great
thought, okay,
song.
that's a good new wave song, but
Yeah,
to me that was like the same thing as like I don't know, Still Breeze, and yeah, it's gonna. And then when he put out Rebel Yell, um, he started picking up more steam, and then what was his really big album? Uh,
oh
the one that Eyes Without a Face on it.
yeah. I can't think of the name of the album though.
Yeah, that really kind of shot him up there. And then he was relevant all throughout the '80s and kind of petered out in I guess around 1990. But yeah, Billy Idol, he's a
Oh
Hall of Fame.
yeah, Hall of Famer right there.
So um, I hate to bring this up, um, and I don't know when to, but it is baseball news and it's big baseball news, so we're going to bring it up. We talked about this guy a few weeks ago, Jaron Duran of the Red Sox. In the documentary that's on Netflix about the Red Sox, he talked about his suicide attempt, and so he's playing a game in Cleveland, and there's a Cleveland fan that is mocking that, and I guess Duran wanted to go, was ready
Yeah.
to go into the stand. I JJ, you're a decent guy. You really are a decent guy.
Well, thank you. I try.
What's wrong with people?
Well, you're going to get one. Vince, I don't care if you go to the Vatican. There's going to be somebody in there causing trouble. There's always one in the crowd. But Vince, there's something that makes me hopeful about this in the long run. I know this is a terrible thing, but the Cleveland fans pointed the guy out.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, no, this is not cool. They were like, we're not with him. And I think that's great that people were like, hey, no. And they policed themselves. The team apologized to him, and they don't want any part to do with it. And they threw the guy out of the stadium, is what I've heard. So, but I don't know, Vince. I tell this story. When I was a kid, I wasn't a straight A student. I had a friend, Roy McDonald. He took me to the game on straight A night, and I think we were playing either the Mets or the Cubs. But Jose Cardinal was in the outfield, and somebody started like, Jose stinks, and all the kids, Jose stinks. We were giving Jose Cardinal trouble, and he pulled his pants up, flipped us off, and we were like, "Oh, that's good." He was giving us crap, and we deserved it because we were little punks. And if I ever meet him, I'm going to apologize to him. But I got wrapped up in that mob mentality, so it's my fault just as much. But oh yeah, and the fans, I don't know. People think I think because you're famous, they think they can just say anything to you. And Vince, you said it so well. That takes bravery to talk about your pain and what you're going through and just put it out there for everybody. And you said that's a very brave thing to do. And that's one of the reasons why there's always going to be somebody who's going to just, I don't know, use it as to manipulate or cause you even more pain. So, God love them. I don't know what to say, but I'm glad Cleveland handled it well, got that person out of the ballpark, and the fans pointed them out. But that's my take on that.
I just don't get the thinking that says I'm gonna harass this man for a suicide attempt. That's
Oh,
that's something that can really push you over the edge. And I obviously did. He was going to go after the fan, but I just don't get that. I don't. We have become such a cruel society. We have. Name calling is something that used to happen on a high school or on a grade school playground. Now, adults who should know better, we're in name calling. Uh, you know, I, I'm not going to get too political right now, but my grandson, who's autistic, now has a disease. It's not a neurological thing that he's born with, and they're wanting to put him on a registry. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, can we just leave everybody alone and let them be as long as they're not hurting other people?
yeah.
I don't get why we have to be such an antagonistic society towards each other in the confines of a baseball game where even if you're losing, that's still another team. Respect them as human beings. I got into a discussion once with a friend of mine who has been on this show because my friend posted on social media, I think it was John Jay dropped the ball or something or misplayed a ball. And my friend got on social media and just trashed him. And I said, I sure would hate to have a bad day at the office and someone just plastered all over social media. And they know the game when they get into Major League Baseball. Maybe, but saying Jose stinks as a little kid is a little different than adults getting onto a person for making a physical mistake at work. It's a lot different than getting on to someone for their suicide attempt. My blood started boiling. I did not read the story. Kathy and I went out to eat tonight, and I'm sitting there, we're waiting for our food, and I see this thing pop up, and I'm like, what's wrong with people? I don't know.
Well, in that vein too, we had Tommy Pham was playing. I believe it was in Tommy Pham left field. He went into the corner to get a ball, and a fan made contact with him, and then they started chirping back and forth. And I'll be honest with you, Tommy Pham's one of the last people you want to reach out. The players have no, and the thing was that the guy wasn't going after the ball. The guy was going to touch Tommy Pham.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Tommy Pham was like, hey, what the heck? And the guys jerked back and they got into it. Pham got suspended a day for a supposedly lewd gesture, which I do not think, well, I guess they had it on close up on TV. Cameraman, turn the camera. Let Tommy give him some crap. But that fan should, I think they just moved him. I don't think they even
Yeah,
threw him out of
and I've heard that Tommy Pham has sought legal counsel on suing Major League Baseball for not taking him out of the game.
Yeah,
Because if a ball player goes to a corner to get a ball, I'm not touching the guy.
right.
What are you going to do? Go tell your friends, I touched the ball player today. Yeah, you do that when you're 8, you know. But when you're an adult and you're grabbing at a guy, you're grabbing at Tommy Pham, who has no problems popping Jock Peterson in the middle of the outfield.
No.
Yeah, and I saw Tommy's little lewd gesture. He called the guy a jerk
Yes.
off. So maybe if I separate the two words, but and then Tommy told the guy, "You want to
Oh
come
yeah,
in here?"
come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just go to the game,
Yeah.
cheer, jeer, do whatever you want. I have jeered players too, but I can honestly say I've never gotten personal with it. I've never called names or anything like that. Um, I've been to so many Cardinal Cub games. Um, and I watch the Cardinals stomp the Cubs year to year to year to year, and you get so frustrated at it. But I never once thought, you know what? That Yadier Molina's killing us. I'm going to figure out the biggest piece of dirt on him from his history and bring it up. There are people who do that. And
Oh,
you talk to any ball player in any sport, team sports, they don't mind being heckled as long as it's clever and it's not hurtful.
yes.
And my favorite, there's a guy that goes to the Washington Wizards games. He may have passed away by now because he's getting up there in age, but he was the best heckler in NBA. Everybody said
Yes. I remember that guy.
so. The Bulls are playing there, and this book called Jordan Rules had just come out that wasn't too favorable about Michael Jordan. He sat right behind the Bulls bench and was just reading the book. And Michael Jordan was just like, oh my gosh, this is too much because that is clever and
That is
funny.
clever. That is.
But, if you just say, oh, you're a whatever, and,
Yes.
or, a ball player goes and you're thinking you're big stuff, the Yankee fans ripping the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove. And there's no place for that. Sports should be fun. Yeah, it's going to break our hearts sometimes. It's going to hurt
Oh,
us. Um, but man, it should be fun. And
accidents happen too. Sometimes, I think of Steve Bartman. There was about 5 other guys reaching for that ball, and he wasn't wanting the Cubs to lose. It was just right there, and I think normal instincts is to reach out there. But if it was an accident, which I don't think it was, if you just, oh, I'm so sorry. Tommy Pham was like, all right, it would have been over with, but you kept it up. There was an incident with Mike Trout where they took the ball out of his glove or something, and Trout, I guess he calmed down and he had the father and son come back and he gave the kid some sign memorabilia, which I think is very classy. I don't think it was malicious like in New York with Mookie Betts and or some of those kind of situations, but that was pretty cool that Mike Trout just like, all right, I know you wanted the ball, come back, and he signed I think a bat for the kid and a ball. So that's pretty darn cool. Yeah, when them cameras went off, yeah, there you go. Thanks for happening.
uh, let me quickly get into the walking wounded and other news real quick.
Sure.
Tyler Glass now is on the 15-day IL. Surprise, surprise. He is as brittle as a dry leaf in
They
October.
took a chance when they signed him. He had a long history of injuries.
Yep. Corey Seager, 10-day IL with the hammy. So that's about a week and a half, 2 weeks he'll be out. We talked about Tommy Pham as 1-day suspension. I think he's already served that. Um, I found this interesting. Eddie Rosario was DFA'd by the Dodgers and quickly signed by the Braves for a 1-year contract.
Oh, it's going
Uh,
back. Yeah.
yeah, World Series hero. They're probably happy to have him back. And Jared Kelenic was sent to AAA. Uh, Guy who's got all the talent in the world. He has spurts where he looks like he's great, but then he just goes into these long thunks. And so the Braves, who've been scuffling, playing better of late, but probably thinking Rosario probably going to give us more than Kelnick at this point. Uh, Tyler O'Neill, it's that time of the year he goes on his first IL stint, so he's going on.
And I love him, but he can't stay healthy.
As thick as his neck is, how do you know when it's inflamed? It looks like it's always inflamed. His whole body's inflamed. So,
Give him some ibuprofen.
yeah. So, oh, did you see Eugenio Suarez hit 4 homers in a game?
Yes, I have some stats I was going to go over later. That guy, I tell you what, it's only been done 19 times. That is incredible. What a story. I've never seen 3 home runs hit in a game, but 4, that's just amazing.
I've seen live when Max and I went to Cleveland. We saw Jose Ramirez hit 3 home runs, and that was the first time I've ever seen it live, which was really cool. The most amazing thing about Suarez, who's going by Gino now, which is, I love the name Eugenio though.
I do too.
The thing about Suarez is he hit the 4 home run game, and it wasn't against the Cubs. Because I think going in, he had 7 home runs and like 5 were against the Cubs. So it's like, he was killing us.
And they lost the game. You hit 4 home runs, you figure, wow, we've got this game, and you lost the game. Vince, I looked through it. 19 times it's happened in baseball. That was only the 3rd time it happened where they lost the game. The last time was Bob Horner. We love old Bob Horner.
I remember that
they
one.
lost the huh?
I remember that 4 home
You
run.
remember that one? And
Yeah.
the other one was in 1896, which I didn't remember. A guy named Ed Delahanty. 1896, hit 3 home runs and lost. So, so nothing is, you can't take anything for granted in baseball. You have 4 home runs and still lose the game. That's something else right there.
I remember reading Willie Mays' book. He had his 4 home run game, and he was on the I think he was on deck. He was on deck whenever the game ended, and the fans booed because they wanted him to go up and try number 5s. Yeah.
You never know what you're going to see at a ball game. It looks like everything that under the sun has happened, but there's so much. The game is just incredible that you may see something that's never happened before.
Speaking of things that have never happened before,
good segue.
Sunday, the Giants and Rangers are tied at 2 in the bottom of the 9th, and Elliot Ramos grounds the ball to third base. Third baseman overthrows the first baseman, so he runs a second, and they're just kind of lollygagging after the ball. So he says, "Screw it, I'm running to third." So he's running to third. They panic. They throw the ball away into third. He runs home, slides. He gets a little league home run to win the game. So for little leaguers, former little leaguers everywhere, Elliot Ramos, awesome job. The Giants are just a cool team this year. They are doing
watching them.
It's not just talent. They're competitive, and I would say 90% of Major League Baseball players would have just jogged a second when the ball went over there, and he's, nope, they're lollygagging. I'm going to third. You put pressure on a defense late in the game, good things can happen. And they stole a win from the Rangers. And I know you're very high on the Rangers this year, but man alive, that's a little like a gut punch. Like, gosh, did we just lose on a little league home run? Yeah.
You play your butt off for 8 innings, and then it slips away like that. That can affect you for weeks to come. Hopefully they get over that. I think the Rangers are still really good. They're playing good ball, but that was not a good play right there.
Yeah. What do you got for?
Well, I was going to talk about Walt Jocketty. He passed away Saturday, and big part of the Cardinal history. And I don't want to bring the show down. I'm actually going to lift it up because I just want to celebrate Walt Jocketty. Walt Jocketty, the Cardinals have had like 5 prolonged stretches of excellence. I'd say like 26 to 35, and then the 40s, and then the 60s, the 80s, and then the Walt Jocketty years, which Walt came here in 94. He was actually hired by the brewery. This was after Augie passed, and the brewery was in control for about 5 years during the Joe Torre years. So he was hired in 94, and he was a big reason why Tony La Russa came here. He wasn't going to come to the National League. He wanted to stay in the American League. He knew all the teams and everything. But Dave Duncan told him to reconsider after talking to Jocketty with all the young pitching we had. Now, we didn't have like the Braves or nothing like that, but we had some good young pitching. And Duncan and La Russa were a team. And after Jocketty convinced Duncan, Duncan convinced Tony, and they came here, and the rest is kind of history. So Walt was here for 2 years, brought in Tony La Russa and Duncan, and we hadn't been in the playoffs since '87. And the first year they worked as a team, which was '96, we actually made the playoffs. It's harder to make it back then. And slowly but surely, we built a really good team with a lot of great players. Walt knew Tony back in Oakland when he worked there, but he was the GM here from '94 to 2007. 7 division winners in that stretch, 2 National League championships and a World Championship. And he made a lot of great trades. He traded for. I'm just going to run some of these names down, but us baseball fans will remember some of these players. And Walt was the person that put these trades together. Wayno, Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland, Mark McGuire, Edgar Renteria, Larry Walker, Woody Williams, Todd Stoudemire, Eckersley, Will Clark, Steve Klein, just to name a few. And Vince, I'll be honest with you, as a kid, the Cardinals would make trades every once in a while, but it just seemed like we got Mark McGuire. I remember we got Mark McGuire. Oh my God, we got Will Clark. We got John Smoltz, at the end of their careers, but we got them. And it was just so exciting to see these guys in a Redbird uniform on our team with the bird and the bat. And Tony, he always liked the veterans. He also brought in some free agents, and like Chris Carpenter, which at the time was a very controversial move because Chris Carpenter was hurt. We actually signed him, and he sat that first year and didn't even pitch. People thought, I remember the writers, Bernie Miklasz, who did a lot of this information I got from Bernie Miklasz, his podcast, and he was saying that he was like kind of bad-mouthing the organization, like, what are you doing? You could spend that money elsewhere. But then when Chris Carpenter became Chris Carpenter and got better, he told Jocketty, you were right, I was wrong, and he never rubbed it in. He said, sometimes you just get lucky. That's kind of class. He didn't hold grudges. He just went out there and tried to put the best team out there. And I just remember Walt Jocketty as a guy. He was always on the radio with Buck and Shannon. Anyway, very accessible, all the reporters. And a lot of times they do talk real favorably about somebody who passes, but never heard a cross word. And the sad part about it was there was kind of a power struggle in '07 when Jeff Luhnow was coming up. And I don't know exactly what happened, but anyway, Walt left and went over to Cincinnati and put together a good team. They never won at all, but he put together some very productive teams over there, but just brought some great baseball to St. Louis. And I'm just so thankful. And he's a big part of the Cardinal history. And some say, Bernie Miklasz said, maybe the second greatest general manager in St. Louis history, only behind Branch Rickey, who just happened to start the minor leagues and everything. I mean, it's hard to compete with that. But gonna miss him. And, people said it wasn't a surprise. I think his health had been failing. But just kind of want to remember Walt Jocketty and all the great things he did here in St. Louis. So,
yeah, a couple things. He was so different than Mozeliak. Mozeliak is very Mozeliak. Even when he's being talked to on like a radio show or something, he sounds like he is an executive leading a meeting of stockholders.
yes.
Jocketty was baseball. He didn't scream corporate management. He screamed, "I'm a baseball man," whereas Mozeliak screams, I'm a baseball executive. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
saying that one's right or one's wrong or anything. I'm
Oh
just saying
yeah.
that's kind of the difference. And I think Jocketty is a lot more revered in this town, um, due to his personality. And I know, you know, they Jocketty won 2 World Series. There was,
Went to 2 but won 1, and then
and then
he was gone by '07, and then they went in 11 and 13. Yeah.
yeah. So they're comparable as far as the record goes. But let me ask you this: his work at Oakland, his work at St. Louis, and then really good work turning Cincinnati into a playoff team when he left St. Louis. Do you think he's Hall of Fame worthy?
I think he's in the conversation. I don't know who he'd be up against. I don't know the other standards. Branch Rickey, of course, is maybe the blueprint for a GM, but perhaps maybe a committee will come in and put somebody like him in. I think there's some coaches that never got to manage that are on there too. But we're talking about Walt Jocketty. I think he's in the conversation. Vince, I'd have to look at what longevity means as a GM and how many wins do you need, and all the adversity and all that. But he's definitely a good baseball man who had a big part of baseball and 3 organizations that all did very well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, any other general
Well,
news?
we were talking about Suarez, and I just looked.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He is a Cub killer.
Oh my
Every
gosh. Yes.
every I mean, some teams have teams that are the killer. Some there's individuals. As a Cardinal fan, John Milner, Carlos Beltran. There's been people like that. There's certain pitchers. Steve Carlton owned the Cardinals for years and years and years. But I looked up Suarez, and I'm not doing this because I've got a Cardinal guy killer too. I'm going to go over his stats. But against Chicago, now Suarez has played for Cincinnati, Seattle, and Arizona now. And Vince, he's hit 266 lifetime batting average against the Cubs. He's got 127 hits, 36 home runs, 94 RBIs, and 75 runs scored in 136 games. That's pretty incredible. That's amazing. I know earlier in the year I was like, "Good Lord, David Ortiz killed us," and my thought was, "Stop pitching to David Ortiz. Just walk him. I don't care if bases loaded. Walk the guy, or hit him and just no, don't hit him on purpose, but put the guy on base. Do something." And so I was looking. One of the guys that gives the Cardinals trouble. It's hard to find stats where you can break down teams, but Manny Machado has played 43 games against the Cardinals and hit 305 with 53 hits, 14 home runs, and 42 RBIs. 42 RBIs in 43 games. And Machado's just one of those guys that kills us. He can hit them in the gap. He can hit home runs at little bleeders that we just can't get to. But it seems like he always finds the spot to hit the ball. And he's a great player, too. So that happens to every team. And it's kind of weird how it's just all of a sudden one guy, you can't stop that guy. But also, statistic wise, Jock Peterson ended his slump. He was 0 for 41 with a 9th inning pinch hit double versus the Oakland A's. And he got the hit against Mason Miller. I mean, if you're going to break a slump, that's the way to do it. A double against Mason Miller, maybe the best closer in the game. But the record for the longest slump by a position player was Chris Davis from the Baltimore Orioles. Poor Chris Davis. I don't want to kick him when he's down, but he went 0 for 54. And it just was like right after he signed a big free agent contract, too. It's like, oh, that's just devastating. And they spent so much money, they had to play him, and he just didn't do anything. But I looked for the Cardinals and the Cub player with the longest hitless streak, and the longest Cub is, and this ain't really fair, but I couldn't find anybody way up there, was John Lester. John Lester was 0 for 66, his first 66 at bats. He's a pitcher. They don't have to worry about that now, but 0 for 66, that's pretty rough. And the Cardinals had a kid named Mike Potter, an outfielder in the 70s, who was over 23. hitless streak. So I think over 23 is worse than over 66 if you're a position player.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad right there. So I always like looking up stats and things like that, and I always, just throw a few numbers out there because it's always fun to bring up players that maybe we forgot about or we didn't never even heard of. So that's my little blast of my little section right there.
Well, besides Mr. Potter, who had a terrible run, what's going on in Cardinal land?
Well, transactions. We Ryan Fernandez, who was so good last year, he just didn't have it. And I tell you what, Vince, part of the problem with the Cardinals is they wait too long. They drag these pitchers out there and they just don't have it. Well, this year they're moving the pitchers a little quicker this year, which is good. And they're letting them position players play, and I'm all for that. We got to see what these kids can do. But Ryan Fernandez was sent to Memphis, and they brought up a right-handed pitcher, Riley O'Brien, who's already done very well for the Cardinals. He's come out and done pretty good. The Cards on the 28th, we sent Thomas Sajasi, and Vince, I love this kid. I think he's going to have a great career. Maybe he'll be a trade chip. But this kid he was hitting 341 with 1 home run, 7 RBIs, and 14 hits, 2 walks, and I believe it's 11 strikeouts. But he just wasn't getting the playing time. He needs to play every day. And with us wanting with Gorman and Wynn healthy again, and Brendan Donovan knocking the cover off the ball, we got to let these guys play. So we sent him down, and it's not because he wasn't performing. It's just he didn't get it. Sometimes he played 1 out of every 3 games, just not getting enough time in there. So we send him to Memphis, and we bring up the shortstop, at one time one of the top prospects for the Cincinnati Reds, Jose Guerrero, and he came up. He's a shortstop, so he'll be off the bench, and we'll see what he can do. And then we designated right-handed pitcher Ryan Lantos for assignment, so we just kind of let him go. But Sajasi, one of my favorite players. Vince, I like this kid. He hustles. He plays good. He's a nice guy. I really like that. So he'll be back. And J.J. Reinhold, I was going to talk about him coming up, but he is just not going to cover off the ball. I got some stats on him as well. Let's see. Hot streak. JJ, I think started out 0 for 18, but then he went on a hot streak, got 14 hits in the last 6 games, and was hitting 519 and slashing 519, 563, and 778. And he's at AA right now. And Vince, he's going to be here sooner than later. This kid's just looking fantastic. 7th pick last year, and this year the Cardinals have the 5th pick. And I was looking at some of the the mock drafts, which I know after the Sanders kid in the NFL, they don't mean a whole lot. But but it seems like the Cardinals, they got them kind of slotted for the shortstop from Oregon State, who's just a phenomenal player. The problem is, how many shortstops do we need? J.J. Reinhold's a shortstop, Wynn's a shortstop, Donovan can play shortstop. I don't know if we need any more shortstops. We need a stud pitcher, but maybe he's the best player available at the time, and I guess we can move him to different positions. But anyway, I'm excited about J.J. Reinhold. Another thing I wanted to point out is Brendan Donovan going into Monday was actually the top hitter in the National League. And I know it's early. We're only getting near the end of the first month. You don't want to start high-fiving because that's a good way to anger the baseball gods. But it's good to see some kind of productivity, I stay humble. I try to stay humble. Brendan Donovan, I just like the way he plays. He takes good at bats. 2 strikes. He's taking the ball the other way. And like you said, Vince, sometimes you got to have a good sound baseball presence. You got to know the situation. Put the ball on the ground. Move the guy over. Sometimes the ball will find a hole. He's not striking out a whole lot. It's just been so much fun watching him. Now, he's leading the National League. In the American League, Aaron Judge, like he needs this. He's hitting 406 coming to Monday. That guy's we're seeing something special with this Aaron Judge, too. I know it's Cardinal Corner, but I just wanted to point that out.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure, of course.
I've probably got maybe 20, a little over 20 years. I'm lucky 30 years left on this earth. I think when I die, I'm going to apply to be one of the baseball gods.
Oh, that'd be nice. Show some mercy. Show mercy.
The Cubs have not had anybody on the baseball gods committee since the early 20th century, so we are due.
Well, like last year when the Padres was beating the Dodgers and they started dancing and they wouldn't show you if they caught the ball. They kind of run in and they go like this. And I was like, oh no, they're angering the baseball gods. They're angering the baseball gods. And sure enough, the Dodgers came back and just knocked them out. I thought when Moises Alou threw his glove down, I was like, oh no, it's falling apart. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Never, never, never do that. Always be humble and grateful, I say. And now things don't happen your way sometimes. It's just not meant to be. But sometimes like, oh, don't tempt fate. Never say, oh, we got this. There's no way that team can beat us. I remember the Tigers saying, we're going to beat the Cardinals in 3 games. It was the best of 7. And somehow we'd hit it and the pitcher would throw it in the first row. And we were like, what the heck's going on? So anyway, just always, I always say, even to my kids when they do anything, just be humble. If you succeed, fantastic. If you don't, keep persevering, but stay humble, because man, nobody likes somebody running around bragging and stuff.
Yeah, you brought up Shedeur Sanders, and yes. I'll give my 2 cents worth. I have read from 2 different teams. His interviews were terrible. Very much with the Ari, you're wasting my time. I'm a great football player. Watch my film. And would he slide to the 3rd or 5th round?
5th.
That's his dad's personality. You know what? You're not a defensive back. You're not a wide receiver. You're the freaking quarterback. That's not leadership. That is why quarterbacks are not big fans of receivers, because they're divas. And now you can't bring that diva attitude to quarterback. That's where Jeff George and a myriad of other quarterbacks, Ryan Leaf, who had all this, thought they were the greatest thing, and then they came in and they just crapped the bed. And I think that Sanders, until he learns a little humility, which is something you need to be a leader in the NFL, he's going to have a tough time playing quarterback. And so many players, I heard DeMarco Farr say the best talented quarterback I ever played against was Jeff George. But Jeff George couldn't keep his butt on the field because his ego was so big and it hampered his play. Nobody wanted to play for him.
And Johnny Manziel, that guy had all the talent in the world. In college, he looked like there's nothing he couldn't do, but he wasn't, I don't know. It just seems he wasn't dedicated, and he, like Tom Brady, just worked. You love guys like that. Picked late. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm going to show all of you guys that come out there worked hard. Nobody knew the other team's tendencies more than Tom Brady, and he made quick decisions. I just applaud the guy. Now Sanders may come in and have good, but there was teams that needed a quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers needed a quarterback, but they passed on him every time.
Yeah. The when you're a quarterback, you have to have the complete and total respect of those guys in the huddle. You want those guys in the huddle when they're worn out because they've been trying to block the greatest defensive end pass rusher in the game right now, and they're worn out, and he gets in their faces. We just need you for this drive, just this drive. Keep him out of my face this drive. You know what? You're Tom Brady, or you're Peyton Manning, or you're Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to give you more than I have left in the tank because I believe in you. You have to have that kind of a personality that draws people in that way, and you cannot be a polarizing figure, because if you're a Jeff George and you get in the huddle and you yak at your lineman because you're not blocking hard enough, they're in my face, do your job, blah, 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 blah. You know what they're going to say is, man, I'm tired. I don't like this loudmouth. Go ahead and kill him. And that happens in the NFL, okay? Yeah. Especially if your season's going bad, you better be a quarterback that the linemen love, or they are going to let you die.
Bitch, you fired me up. You fired me up. I'm ready to go out there. I'm ready to block for you. Bring them all in. I'm going to block them all for you, Vince. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, you're right though. But this is going to be a story. Everybody's going to be watching it now. If he had pressure before, it's even going to be more pressure now. And he's on a team with 4 other quarterbacks, and 2 of them are veterans. So we'll see what happens. And the Cleveland's never been known to really develop quarterbacks. Now things can change, but oh my gosh! But we'll see what he does when he goes there. I wish a kid all the best. Maybe this will give him a little humility. He'll come out here and set all the records and be something special. We'll see. But it's going to be. I'm not really a football fan, but I'll be keeping an eye on see what happens in Cleveland now. But anyway,
that has nothing to do with the Cardinals.
Yeah, hey, this is just friends. We all get together on Wednesday. We shoot the bull and we just talk about stuff. And you guys, send us what you think. What's going to happen this year. But it's going to be something else. Well, for the Cardinals this week, we got to play Atlanta, and we were at Atlanta, and we split the series. We won the second game on last Tuesday night. We won 10-4, and Steven Matz pitched an excellent game. He's 2-0 now with a 1.86 ERA. Him, Michaelis, and Fetty are not probably not going to be back next year. We may move Fetty at the All-Star game or trading deadline. Teams always need pitching. So this is good. He's doing great. We'll see what happens. He's pitching out the bullpen in like a 6-starter role, but did a fantastic job. Gorman went 1 for 5. I tell you what, we're letting him play a lot, but he's still striking out a lot. He went 1 for 5, but in that game, he got a double with bases loaded, and that was good. But, man, when him and Jordan Walker are back-to-back in the lineup, ooh, that's rough because they're out there battling. I know they are, and it seems like Jordan Walker, he'll get one pitch. It's just a little outside, and they'll call a strike, and then he'll go chasing after him. Matt Adams was kind of like that. They'd hit a corner off it. Maybe it seemed like that much. And then now he had to go out there and chase those pitches out there. So both of those guys are striking out a lot right now, and hopefully they get it turned around. But one of the reasons we won that game was Strider was supposed to pitch, but he missed the start with a hamstring injury. So we got one of their backup pitchers came in and pitched. Did an okay job. We kind of took the lead late in the game. And then the rubber game, we lost 1-4. And Michaelis went 6 innings with no runs. And I tell you what, he just doesn't have what he used to have, but he's pitching on guile and, giving you everything he's got out there. But 6 innings with no runs, that's pretty good. Our bullpen, which was our strength last year, continues to struggle, but they're shuffling the dev. Let's see what happens. Even Helsley's had a few rough goes of it with some wildness. So we'll see what happens. But we lost 2 out of 3, and we're just having trouble on the road. I'll go over that in a second. So Thursday we had the day off, and we come home against Milwaukee, who's kind of owned the division for the last 2 or 3 years, and we beat them 3-2. Libator pitched. Yeah, I know. They always give us a fit, and Libator got the win, and Helsley got the save, and Arenado made a play with a game on the line where he had to come in for it. It was too slow of a hit to get the double play, and he threw on the run and threw it back and caught perfect and got the guy home. What a play. Arenado has just, last year, a lot of the fans, the season wasn't going as good as we hoped, and of course, coming off the year where we only won 71 games, fans were just saying, Goldschmidt, Arenado, they're over the hill. Now they are getting up there in years, but Goldie went out to New York and he's having a heck of a year. He's got a better lineup around him. Let's be honest. And when you're Goldschmidt and you're in that kind of lineup, but here in St. Louis, he was like the focal point, and he just, he didn't have it last year, but this year he's second in the American League in hitting, I believe. But Arenado seems to have kind of got like a re-energized himself. He's lost some weight. He looks good. His defense is fantastic. And that play kind of saved the game right there. And Donovan had 2 hits and a walk, and Nootbaar went 2 for 3. Nootbaar and Donovan, fantastic. Young guys, although Donovan's been around a few years, but he's still the guy out of all of our young guys. I would sign him to. He's proved it, and every year he gets better. That's the guy I would sign to a longer term contract and keep him around because he does anything you ask. He plays any position and gives you top-notch defense. and just takes a very good at bat. I really like him. Saturday we were at home against Milwaukee and we won 6-5. Hey, yeah. We were up by 5 runs, but Milwaukee kept chipping away. They're a good team. You look at them on paper, and they lost to Adames and Burns and Hader and Devin Williams, and you're like, how is this team doing it? They got some good young players, and this Durbin kid at third base, and Jackson Chirios is even better than he was last year. He's really turning into like him and Yelich, like the captains of the team. But they chipped away, and then Arenado hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth as a walk-off, and it was like, oh, we got some excitement going on here. And then we played Sunday, and they just cleaned their clock, 7-1. Pick yourself up. We won the series 2 out of 3. I'll take that any day of the week against Milwaukee. But you always want more. You win the first 2, you want to get that third one. And Quintana was just too much. 5 innings, 5 hits, 6 Ks. Looks great. I think he's 4-0 this year. And Fetty, he got knocked around. So Monday we had Cincinnati. We're gone to Cincinnati, and we lost 1-3. I tell you what, Palante, I'm happy with this young kid pitching 6 innings, 3 earned run. That's a quality start. But just the Cincinnati was too much. They run the bases well. They play great defense. They outpitched us. So Vince, and today's game got rained out. So right now the Cardinals are 10-5 at home. I'll take that any day of the week. That's outstanding. But we're 2-12 on the road, and we got to figure that out. I don't know if it's because we're young or we just aren't as comfortable. I don't know what's going on, but I know we're better than 2-12. But I don't know if we're better than 10-5. Probably the truth lies somewhere in the middle there. We're in 4th place. We're ahead of the Pirates. That's something to hang a hat on. But we're behind the Brewers, the Reds, and the Cubs. And I have to tip my cap to you guys playing great ball. What can you say? Quality starts. The Cardinals are one of the top quality start teams getting out of your starters. Starters are doing better than I thought they would. Bullpen's doing worse. And we got a lot of work to do with the hitting and running, but I like that we're bunting. We're stealing bases. Just not a lot of power yet this year. So hopefully that turns around. But Vince, that's St. Louis Cardinal news. It's not the end of the world. Let's see, 12-17 is not great, but we're doing okay. We're hanging in there. We're not buried yet, but maybe we can get this turned around soon. But man, we got a tough lineup. I think next week we play Cincinnati, then we have the Mets, and I think I have a bet with Mark, who our good friend of the show. I'm going to bet the Cardinals take the series from the Mets. Probably not my smartest bet, but if the Mets beat us next week, I will be wearing a Met hat, and for 1 week it'll be 1 Met, 1 Cub, 1 beer. And if I win, he'll be wearing a bunch of Cardinal stuff to all his ventures and on his Facebook page. So hopefully, come on, guys, cheer us on. Come on, Cardinals, do this for me. That's it. I know.
It forces you to do stupid things like wear Mets gear.
I know. I ordered a Met hat. So now I have a Met hat.
Here I am sitting with the Yankee shirt on. It's the Juan Soto shirt. I'm not going to turn all the way around. But the Juan Soto shirt I bought last year is good karma, so he'd sign with the Cubs, and we didn't even engage him in talk. So now I'm stuck with the Yankees jersey that I'll wear every now and then.
But you got Kyle Tucker, and he may be one of your.
Yeah, Kyle Tucker.
That's a great trade-off right there.
Going into Cubs news. We have issues with third base. Matt Shaw was not hitting anything with us, and he wasn't playing defense really well. And all during the offseason, so many Cub fans, he's ready. You don't know how many people do you don't know for sure. Right. First of all, I'm sure most of these people don't watch AAA games. Yeah. I've watched some AAA games. I've seen him play a little bit. And was he ready? I don't know. I know he was killing minor league pitching, but we bring him up and he wasn't ready. His bat's too slow. I caught him in a minor league game this weekend. He's still got a very close batting stance. And I'm just saying, when you're facing AAA pitching, there's a jump as far as velocity goes, when you get major league pitching. And I just don't see him getting his bat around with that closed stance on 96, 97, 98 mile an hour heaters. And his first stand up with the Cubs proved that. So I don't know if that's something that he can work with, or if they're going to have to open up his batting stance. But hey, I'm not employed by the team. I don't know, but we had to send him down because he wasn't getting the job done, and he's only hitting 192 in AAA right now, so he seems to be pretty screwed up. So we have Bruham on the team, and just to give you an example, last night's game or 2 nights ago on Sunday Night Baseball, 1-1 in the 10th inning. Oh, or was it 2-1? I don't remember the score, but Trey Turner hit about an 80 mile an hour ground ball to Bruhan. All he's got to do is go get the ball and throw him out, you know. But
Yeah.
Bruhan, who hasn't played much third base, stayed back and waited for the ball to play him. And of course, can't get Trey Turner because he's really fast. And there was really no excuse for it. You've got to know your opposition. You got to know who's batting. And
Right.
so I don't see Bruhan being an answer. Uh, Turner cannot hit anymore. He's 40 years old. His bat is slow. He can't get to a decent fastball. He's hitting under 150, and he's not a third baseman anymore. And we're going to have to make a hard decision, and I think we need to depart from him. We did sign Nicky Lopez as a free agent because he was in training camp with us, and then we let him go. And I think the Angels picked him up, and then they DFA'd him, so we've signed him as a free agent. John Birdie is playing decent. He's got a good bat. He's got some good speed. He's a serviceable third baseman, but the problem with that is you don't need a serviceable third baseman. Third base is an offensive position. You have to get offense out of third base. One of the problems we had last year is we got no offense out of third base. And when we said, okay, Matt Shaw is going to be our third base, I'm thinking, gosh, we could potentially be in the same situation again if he doesn't come through. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I do know that rookies are rookies and you don't know. So this was what's happened so far. Gage Workman, the Rule 5 player that we got from Detroit, he wasn't working out both offensively and defensively, so we DFA'd him. The Tigers didn't want him back, so we traded him to the White Sox. And then Gage Workman said, he said all the right things. I'm happy to be in Chicago, play for the White Sox. And he said, and I want to beat the Cubs. And because you're like, people are saying
Hey.
that's board material. Geez, no, it's not. I'm sure he does want to beat the Cubs. Yeah, I don't have a problem with what he said.
Oh.
Anyway, third base is becoming an issue unless someone steps forward, puts some offense together, whether it's Matt Shaw coming back in a few weeks and he's figured it out, or whomever. I do have some hope because PCA last year started the season bad. His bat looked slow, didn't look like he was catching up. Then all of a sudden, boom, it clicked. So that can happen to anybody, and he is a talented hitter. So hopefully we get this third base thing figured out. We with all the pitching issues we've had, we signed former Cub Michael Fulmer to a minor league contract. So I think just last year we let him go. He was with us for about a season, then part of the second season. So
I remember him.
we did pick up Drew Pomerantz, purchased him from AAA, put him on the 40-man, and now he's pitching. And Drew Pomerantz, who hadn't pitched since 2021, looks good. So now we've got two lefties coming out of the bullpen, pretty good. Ethan Roberts was sent down to AAA, and we brought up Tom Cusgrove, a right-handed pitcher, to take his place. So we just keep kind of tinkering with the bullpen and seeing what's going to happen if this guy works, if that guy works. But I am pretty happy because it looks like Drew Pomerantz is going to provide us some help because he has looked sharp coming out of the pen so far. We went 3-2 this week, and I kind of measure baseball in weekly increments, and 3-2 is very good considering we played the Dodgers and the Phillies. Of course, we started off 3-0 this week, and then we lost those last two games to Philly. And the greedy side of me said I wanted to pick up one more game, but hey, I'm not going to complain. We're out of the blocks doing good, and we've had a very difficult schedule. Last week on Tuesday night, we beat the Dodgers 11-10 in 10 innings. We're down to our last at bat, down 10-9 in the ninth, and Amaya hit a home run that barely went to the basket. So, and then we scored in the 10th in that game. We had a lot of offense. Happ went 4 for 5 with an RBI. Tucker went 3 for 4 with a home run. Suzuki went 2 for 5 with a couple RBIs. PCA 3 for 5 with a home run. Amaya went 2 for 5 with the home run. So we had a lot of offense that game. That's what happens when you score 11 runs.
Oh yeah.
It was a little bit rough. Imanaga, 5 2/3 innings, gave up 5 earned runs. Initially, it was 2 earned runs. Ball that Otani hit. It was 24 hours. It was called an error. 24 hours later, it was ruled a hit. So suddenly you got 3 more earned runs slapped on top of there. Bet he was happy about that. Brad Keller had his first terrible outing. He pitched a third of an inning, gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned. And Porter Hodge came in the 10th, pitched a scoreless inning, and he got the win. And you would have thought that Hollowell, who pitched the previous 2 innings, would have gotten the win, and Hodge came in and got the save. But now, I think for the last couple of seasons, it's been up to the discretion of the official scorer. If Hollowell, a pitcher, didn't do enough to win, they will throw a win on someone where traditionally would have been a save. So, and then the final game against the Dodgers on Wednesday, we won 7-6. Swanson 2 for 4. PCA 3 for 4 with a home run. Very good offensive game. And Matt Boyd went to 2-2, 6 innings, 6 runs, but only 3 of them were earned. Then the Bullpen came in and did their job, and Hodge got the save at the end. Then the first game against the Phillies, we had Thursday off. Friday, the Phillies come to town on Friday afternoon with the wind blowing in. We won 4-0. Happ went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Suzuki went 2 for 5. PCA drove in a run. Birdie drove in a run, got a couple of hits. Colin Ray has just been fantastic for us. He pitched 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks. His ERA is 0.96.
Woo.
Tealbar, Keller, Pomerantz pitched great, and Palencia came in to finish off the game. So we shut out the Phillies. And then on Saturday's game, we lost to Philadelphia 10-4. Suzuki had a couple of hits, 3 RBIs. Birdie had 3 hits and 4 at-bats. But the problem was the pitching side of it. Ben Brown, who was cruising for 3 innings, and he came out for the fourth and just got lit up. So he ended up with 3 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 Ks. The deal is he did not pitch that bad. Things were just finding their way. There was a fly ball out to short left, and 3 guys converge on it, and they all just kind of look at each other. The ball falls in.
Oh.
He didn't look that bad, but he should have been better. And Counsell did kind of call him out after the game. Got to be a little better than that. And then Roberts came in and decided that, you know what, I want to take it back to Des Moines. So he came in for 2 innings, gave up 4 runs. So, and then in Sunday's game, we played Philadelphia. We lost 3-1 in 10 innings. And this is the game where Brujan did not come in on the ball, just kind of let the ball play him, and Trey Turner beat it out. The only bright spot was PCA did drive in a run. Tyone pitched great, 7 innings, 1 run. Hodge pitched great. Presley pitched great. Merriweather, 2/3 was charged with an earned run. And we lost. So 3-2 for the week. Like I said, I'll take it. The greedy side of me like 4 wins, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Phillies are a good team. They wasn't going to be playing bad the whole year, and they seem to be on the upswing right now. So we did good to get the first game, and the second game kind of got away with us, and we were very competitive the third game. So not even May yet, and I'm already like, looking at the standings. Did the Reds win? Did the
You're
Brewers
in first place. And Vince, I tell you what, your team is so good. Maybe a move to get a good third baseman, or believe in the Bush can handle it and eventually get back up here and take over is the answer. I don't know, but you're right. You're right there to get up there with the Mets and the Dodgers. I think you're just something. And if you got a top notch third baseman, I think you're right there. I don't know if the Cardinals will trade Arenado over there, but I think we're going to be making some moves coming up in June.
I had thought about Arenado, trading for Arenado, putting together a good package for Arenado, and not everybody liked that deal. Arenado's over the hill. I think Arenado, his OPS is 800. I'd take that any day of the week.
Heck yeah, he's been great for us.
But
it's a pleasure watching that guy. That's a Hall of Famer right there.
Yeah,
and to have him in your clubhouse, all he does is work his butt off, and I think I'd like to see him spend his career here, but you guys are maybe a third baseman and a pitcher away from a little bit better bullpen. And man, you guys, you might be a 95 win team right there.
Hopefully.
Woo.
You know who I'd like to trade for?
He'd fit on anybody's team. I think you're talking about Mr. Jeremy Connor.
I think Jeremy Connor could play third base for us. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. JJ and I decided last week on the air that this week we are going to look at some of the stranger names of some of the minor league teams on the face of the earth right now. And I'm going to tell you something, JJ. I could have had a list of 25.
Oh yeah.
Some of these are so to narrow it down to 5 was not easy. But I've settled on 5 that I really like, and I think everybody's going to like some of these names. I'll go ahead and start off.
Please.
And my number 5 team is the Roswell Invaders of the Pecos League, which is an independent league. Not so much the name Invaders, but what it means, because Roswell is where they had the UFO crash in the late 40s. And so they really play onto that. Their mascot is an alien-based logo. They have the fluorescent green uniforms like their spacemen or whatever.
Yes.
This team was founded in 2011, and they are the 4-time Pecos League champs. And I tried to see if anybody has played on that team that's made it to the majors. I couldn't find anybody. They are managed by a guy named Garrett Toddy. But I want to tell you something. I've always wanted to go to Roswell. And if I do, now I know I'm going to see a Roswell Invaders game. So my number 5 team, the Roswell Invaders of the Pecos League.
Well, Vince, I already screwed up my list because I went and looked in the Caribbean leagues and over in Japan and Korea. I was looking everywhere. And I like the name of this team. And I thought they played in the Pacific League, but I thought that was a minor league. Apparently that's the pro league. And by the time I wrote all this, I said, well, I'm this far into it. But the name of the team, and again, I'm a hick from Arkansas. And if it's got more than 2 syllables, I have a little trouble around it. Tony Pruno always laughs at me when I have to say anything, a Spanish name or a Japanese name. I don't even get close. But the town is Hokkaido Nippon. Now, Nippon is a Japanese word for Japan. It's another way of saying Japan. So it's Hokkaido, Japan. And the name of the team is the Ham Fighters. I thought that's a strange name for a team, the Ham Fighters. Well, evidently, and by the way, their hats, they have an F with an S on it, like fighters. So F with an S. And on the front, it's got the city name with like a comet underneath it. That's pretty cool. But what it is the Ham Fighters is a company that's a food processor. It'd be like Ritz or something like that. Sort of like the Packers. That's how the football team got its name. It was they packed goods and things like that, so they just called the football team the Green Bay Packers. So the team is the Ham Fighters. They've been around since 1950. But Vince, they have some strange ways. Get a load of this. They have a special dance. This is some wild, wild stuff here. They have a special dance where they have cheerleaders and the fans have these tambourines that look like pots from the Genghis Khan era. And they play these tambourines and dance around. And on the speakers, they play German disco. German disco. And they play these tambourines. And I'll tell you what, this sounds like, you know, if I emos maybe 11 o'clock at night and I have one of these sweat dreams, this is kind of what I'm dreaming about. I want to go there and play these tambourines and listen to German disco. My gosh, that's one of the nationalities. I don't know. I hope this don't sound terrible, but you know, Germans aren't known for their soul too much. You know, disco's got beats and everything. So I want to hear what this sounds like. But anyway, it gets pretty wild. And they have a mascot that is a bear. It's Brisky the bear, and he's got a mohawk. Different days of the week, it's a different mohawk. Like I think Sundays is an orange mohawk, and then there's a pink mohawk and a white mohawk. But this bear's running all over the place, acting crazy until that dance comes up, and then hey, you know, let's calm down because it's dance time. So the Japanese, great fans, they just have their own ways, and I would love to go to Japan and see this team play. So that's my number 5. The I'll call them the Nippon Ham Fighters. That's my number 5.
You know, when you said German disco, what came to mind was that late 80s, early 90s Saturday Night Live when Mike Myers would do Sprockets. Now's
That's my
the time
binky.
for Sprockets where we dance.
And everybody's doing these real quick motions and stuff. Yeah, that's got to be wild. I have to see this in action. That'd be fun.
Cool. Well, my number 4 team comes from Akron, Ohio. They are the AA team for the Cleveland Guardians, and they are the Akron Rubber Ducks. Not 2 words, 1 word, Rubber Ducks. Okay. Now, Akron has a history in the rubber field. Tire companies. Goodyear comes from Akron, Ohio. Firestone, BF Goodrich, and General Tire all come from Akron, Ohio. And so does Devo, by the way. Are we not? We are Devo.
Yes. I control the urge.
So they renamed the team in 2004. They've been around since 1923, but in 2014, they renamed the team the Rubber Ducks in honor of the city's history in the rubber industry. Like I said, they've been around since 1923, and they've played in different places throughout the East. So one time, I think when they first started, they were playing in New York. So they haven't always been in Ohio, that close to Cleveland. But they have been around the East Coast for a long time. And 2014, this iteration of them, once they renamed it the Rubber Ducks, they've had some great players come through there. Jose Ramirez has come through there. So they've had their share of great players come through there. Their manager right now is Greg DiCenzo, and the team is known for their development of pitching, which is what goes on through the whole Cleveland Guardian organization. So number 4, the Akron Rubber Ducks, 1 word.
I like that. Well, my number 4.
The call had nothing to do with that.
Okay. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Convoy.
We got a convoy. All right. Jacksonville. My number 4 is the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Now, what is that? Is that an oxymoron? Big shrimp? Or, you know, I'm the tallest midget, I'm the shortest giant. I don't know. It's kind of like that. On their hats, they've got a shrimp with his fist doubled up and like water going off the back of it. And their colors, they're the minor league team for the Florida Marlins. And I really like it. They've been around since 1962. They're a AA team. But this minor league organization has kind of been passed around. Since 62, these are who they were the AA team for. The Indians, the Cardinals, the Mets, the Expos, the Brewers, the Indians back again, the Royals, the Expos back again, the Marlins, the Tigers, and now here they are with the Florida Marlins. So they've had some superstars come through that organization in Jacksonville, Florida. Andres Galarraga came through there and played. Gabe Kapler, voted the sexiest manager. He also played too.
That's my vote.
Gene Lamont. He's no Don Zimmerman, let me tell you that. Gene Lamont and Brian Barnes, John Morris, who was an outfielder for the Cardinals, and Francisco Cordero from the Pirates. I remember him as a Pirate player. But that's some of the people that came through for the Jumbo Shrimp, and I just like the mascot. I like that shrimp on the hat. That's pretty darn cool.
My number 3 team, once more, comes from an independent league. Do you know the league that the Great Gateway Grizzlies come out of?
No, I don't.
That's called the Frontier League.
Okay.
But the Grizzlies, that's not really a weird name.
No.
But out of the Frontier League, from Florence, Kentucky, is the Florence Y'alls.
Y'alls, yeah.
Y apostrophe ALLS. How did this team get the name the Y'alls? I'll tell you, because Florence, Kentucky has a water tower with Florence on, like cities do. They put it on their water tower, the city name. And then being they're a southern town, they just put y'all on there. Florence, y'all. And so in 1994, when they put this independent team there, they just kind of looked at the water tower, y'all. We'll be the y'alls. So they're the y'alls, which is kind of funny. They were founded in 1994. The Frontier League started in 1993, so they came after the inaugural year of the league. But 94, the first year they're in, they win the championship at the Frontier League. They repeat in 95. In 2000, they were also the league champ. So 3 times league champ. Right now, they are managed by Chad Rhodes. And I'm just going to put a plug in for those of you who are in the St. Louis area, or if you're somewhere near a Frontier League team. Frontier League games are a lot of fun to go to. We have the Grizzlies that are 25 minutes from my house. Fun ballpark to go to, not much money. The concessions are down. It's more of a family fun atmosphere. They do the things between innings that minor league teams do, all the contests and everything. But I think one day, if I'm ever in Kentucky and I have a chance to be close to Florence during baseball season, I can go check out the Y'alls and see how they do.
I like that. Woohoo! Been to Kentucky a few times. I like it down there. Hey, my number 3 is the Hartford Yard Goats. Now, I've not been to Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut, and I don't know if there's a bunch of goats running around. I was in Jamaica, and they had goats everywhere. The traffic had to stop so the goats could go across the road. But I don't know about Hartford, Connecticut, but the Yard Goats, they've been around since 2015 to present day. They've been with the Colorado Rockies. And that's odd because the Rockies are on the other side of the country and Hartford, Connecticut is on this side of the country. But at one time, they were with Texas and the Boston Red Sox. They got a cap with a goat with a cap, and he's got a stick in his mouth. And I tell you what, Vince, if I'm going to get a minor league team hat, this is the one I'm going to get. They got a royal blue look to them, sort of like the Kansas City Royals colors. I like that. And they have a thing at the ballpark. I was looking for everything, any kind of unusual thing they do. They have a thing in their concession stand called Float Your Goat. Now, I don't know if you're into Float Your Goat, but this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a 1/4 of a pound hot dog, beef hot dog with chopped peppers, some bacon, some brown mustard, and it's submerged in a glass of 100% whole goat milk. Now, I don't.
How you lost me there.
Yeah, but the cup it comes in is pretty darn cool. It's got the goat on the side of it. I don't know. How can you prove it's 100% goat milk? I don't know. They're out there in the parking lot milking these bad boys. But if I go to Hartford, I'm not floating my goat. I'm old style. I'll just eat the hot dog, and I might try a drink of the goat milk. I'll sip on it, but I want my hot dog in there. So anyway, that's the Hartford Yard Goats, and that's my number 3.
My number two, and I knew that I would have this one on if you didn't have it first. It's the Rocket City Trash Pandas. I love that name.
Trash Panda.
They are the double A team for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and they are from Madison, Alabama, and they're called Rocket City because Alabama has a history of um,
Pandas?
space development, I guess you could call it.
Okay. Oh,
And do you know what a trash panda is?
somebody that digs through the dumpster? I don't know. What is a trash panda?
A trash panda is a slang term for a raccoon.
Oh, okay.
They don't have pandas in Alabama, but they have plenty of raccoons. So,
Yeah.
so their logo is a raccoon. Looks pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Um, they were founded in 2020, COVID year, but that's when they were founded. Right now, their manager is Andy Schatzley, and just to throw this in there, former Cub Michael Wirtz is their pitching coach. So just love the name, the Trash Pandas. And if there was a hat I was going to get, it would be the Trash Panda hat. It looks really cool.
I wonder, does it say on the back trash panda or just panda? Because sometimes when you get those hats, it'll have that, and then on the back, it'll have the team name. That'd be pretty cool. I go for that one too. Well, my number two is Richmond Flying Squirrels. A lot of these teams are down south. They got good weather down there, so they play all year. They can play it for a long time. But it's down in Richmond, Virginia, and their minor league affiliate is the Giants. And their colors are red and gray. And this hat they have, it's sort of reminiscent of Superman, kind of doing this thing where he's flying, but it's a squirrel, and he's got the thing under his arms, and he looks so darn cool. And they have two mascots, like a boy's squirrel and a lady squirrel. And the boy's Nutsy, and the girl's Natasha, like Nut-tasha. That's kind of cute. I'm a Rocky the Squirrel, Bullwinkle Rocky, one of my all-time favorite cartoons. So there's a flying squirrel there. So it's always a little partial to that. But they have a treat. Now, we're not dunking our goat or none of that there. They have a thing called the Dill Dog. Dill Dog. And it's a pickle that they cut down the middle, and they put a hot dog in the middle and put mustard on it. And I don't know if I'd like that, Vince. Instead of a bun, having a big pickle?
Nah.
I don't know. I don't know either. But in that organization, they've had stars come through that played down there with the Flying Squirrels: Brandon Belt, Joe Panic, Brandon Crawford, and Adam Dunn have all come through that organization up to the big leagues. Pretty darn cool.
Awesome. My number one team, my favorite minor league name, the side of the Isotopes, which is a fictitious minor league team, so we didn't include that. The Amarillo Sod Poodles. They're the double A team from the Diamondbacks. JJ, do you know what a sod poodle is?
No, I don't.
Okay. A sod poodle is a slang term for a prairie dog.
Prairie dog. Okay.
See how much stuff you learn watching.
Man, I'm getting with my animals now.
The sod poodles were founded in 2019, and their inaugural season they drew almost 500,000 people. Now, to draw for a AAA team, that's good. For a AA team to draw 500,000 people is phenomenal. They've been league champs twice, and their manager is Javier Colina, and they've had some great players who have come through. Corbin Carroll was a sod poodle, so that's pretty cool.
That's cool enough for Corbin Carroll. It's cool enough for me.
Yeah, and not Jackson Merrill. Jeez, the other guy on the team.
Yeah, the center fielder.
The center fielder, yeah, he's a center fielder. Anyway, he was a sod poodle too. So
man, how about that?
So anyway, I love that name, the Sod Poodles. And when I first saw it, I thought, what in the heck is a sod poodle? And looked it up, found out that is a term that the locals use for prairie dogs, so sod poodles, and their championships were in 2019 and their inaugural season in 2023. They've had a lot of talent go through there, which is why Arizona is very good right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, they've really built up into a strong team. Well, my number one, and I almost went to one of their games last year, the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. And I tell you what, I dig this team. They're up around the Green Bay area. It's Appleton area. Appleton is the town nearby. Wisconsin, they're a high A team. They have a white and burgundy are the two colors. And I kind of like that burgundy because Razorbacks have that burgundy kind of color in their scheme. Vince, they have an R. They have different hats. They have one with just like the snake on the front, and then they have an R with the snake kind of coiled through the letter and everything, and the head is up by the top of the R. But what I fell in love with this team is they have so many different uniforms. They have a lot of German population up there, so they have one jersey with Lederhosen down the sides. So they're out there playing ball, and they got the Lederhosen look on their jerseys, and they have hats that look like hunting hats. Like I don't know what you would call it, but the different colors and stuff like that. And I think some of them have ear flaps. And one of the giveaways is this weird kind of hat that you would wear for ice fishing. Because up there in Green Bay, Wisconsin is where they do all that ice fishing and everything like that. I really like that they have 10-cent hot dog night, Vince. I would rather do that than float my goat or the dill dog. 10-cent hot dogs. Now they might, I don't know. I question the if they're expired or not. I'm not going to say anything, but 10-cent hot dog, that's any way you say it, that's pretty darn good. But this tomorrow, April 30th, Brandon Woodruff is pitching for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers in a rehab assignment. So he'll be down there pitching. And they have some odd nights. They have remember John O'Hurley from the Seinfeld show?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're doing Seinfeld trivia, and it's John O'Hurley night at the ballpark. That's pretty cool. Then another night, it's WWE, WWF, WWF superstar Hornswoggle. They're having a Hornswoggle night at the ballpark, Vince. They don't get no better. Seinfeld, wrestling, baseball, all there, and 10-cent hot dogs. They got my vote for number one.
Have you ever watched GCW wrestling?
That's the Japanese wrestling, isn't it? Is that the Japanese wrestling? GCW. What is that? Help me out.
It's mostly it's a lot of hardcore.
Is it Mexico? Is it down in the Mexico?
No, it's East Coast.
East Coast. I don't know that one.
Nick Cage.
Oh yeah, Nick Cage. He's a wild man.
And so when Violet was living here, she bought one of their pay-per-views, and I don't remember. I think it was Matt Cardona, and I don't remember who he was wrestling, but his wife Chelsea Green was there. This is while they were both unsigned, so she was there. I don't remember who they were wrestling, and then they had all these run-ins. I think they had like X-Pac run in, Sean Waltman run in.
Yeah.
Hornswoggle did a run in. It was kind of funny. It was the wildest wrestling show. They had John Moxley fought Homicide, which was like the most boring match of the night. And then at the end, it was Nick Cage and someone else fighting the Briscoe brothers, and the Briscoe brothers had the titles at that time for GCW, and they were running out of time on the pay-per-view. And so they beat the Briscoe brothers in like 3 minutes. It was like boom, boom, boom. So,
the Briscoe brothers, outstanding. They were. I've seen them 2 times in person. They always put a heck of a match on.
Yeah, and never. I just always be careful how you say dill dog.
I know. I paused. I paused in there because I was seeing your face like, what is he talking about over there? Yes.
Speaking of hot dogs and pickles, I've got the green package here. This is the 1992 Fleer. And and it contains 17 cards. JJ, what are you
Whoa!
JJ, where are you going?
I dropped my pack. I
Okay.
got a new pack. I was doing those fold out things. I have 2025 Heritage. This set is it looks like the 1976 cards, and 76 is the one that's got one of my favorite Dave Parker. I think it's Dave Parker's rookie year that year, but it's got the Dave Parker one in it. So it looks like the 76s. And you want to go first?
Oh, sure.
I'm excited. I'm going to say what year you got again? Well,
92.
I'm going to say two Hall of Famers.
I'll go with 2.
All right.
I think 76 was the first year I collected baseball.
Oh yeah, this will bring back some memories.
Yeah. Uh, right fielder for the Tigers, also played for the Blue Jays, along with a few other teams. Mr. Lloyd Mosby.
Oh yeah, very good player. I was thinking him as a Blue Jay.
Yeah, he had years of 21, 26 home runs, 96 RBIs. The guy could play. You never hear about him anymore.
I'd take that.
Pitcher for the Mets, Jeff Ennis.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Excuse me. Catcher for the Tigers, also played for the Orioles. I believe he's a switch hitter. Mickey Tettleton, he had a good bat.
Oh yeah, I think him Detroit.
Former All-Star closer for the Expos and the Mets, Tim Burke.
Yep.
Former right-hander for the Braves, Peter Smith.
I remember him. I can't tell you much about him, but I remember the name.
Oh, this guy isn't a Hall of Famer, but I sure think he belongs there. Right fielder for the Red Sox. At this time, he was finishing up his career with the Baltimore Orioles, Dwight Evans.
Dewey, great defensive player too.
Yeah. Shortstop for the Indians, now Guardians, Felix Fermin.
Oh yes.
Former Cardinal, former Oriole, former Giant, Will Clark.
Will the Thrill. Mississippi man.
One Hall of Famer here, one of my favorite all times, third sacker for the Royals, played his whole career in Kansas City. George Brett.
Smooth.
Former Phillies pitcher, also pitched for the Cubs at one time, Mr. Terry Mulholland.
Oh yeah, very good player.
Prospect card, shortstop for the Braves, Rico Rossi. Don't know who he is. Don't care. Okay.
Man.
Former catcher for the Blue Jays, and I believe he also caught for the Cardinals, Pat Borders.
Yes. Yep. I think 1 year with us.
Oh, this guy did everything he could to get in the Hall of Fame. You've met him. You know the guy. You're good friends with him. Jose Canseco.
Jose Canseco, yes.
Here is Julian's son, named after the man, Stan Javier.
Oh, yes.
Second Hall of Famer.
Woohoo!
For the Milwaukee Brewers. Also played for the Twins and the Blue Jays. Molitor.
5 hits in game 1 of the 82 World Series.
Former Cardinal, traded to the Pirates, Mr. Spanky, Mike LaValliere.
I love LaValliere. Yeah.
Oh, and former Texas Ranger outfielder, and this guy is one of those poster people for did steroids and will never get Juan Gonzalez.
Yeah, powerful guy.
For a while, he was considered one of the top 2 or 3 players in baseball.
That lineup was just like walking through a minefield. One of those guys was going to get you. They had so much talent. They just didn't have the pitching to go against some of the other teams. Well, Vince, before I open this pack, I was just going to bring up something. This Sunday up at Revis Barracks, there's a card show. And this week, we got a lot of Mets. So, Mark, we got a lot of your Met players down here. Kevin Mitchell is there. Ron Swoboda and Dwight Gooden's back up there. And then the other players, the fourth player, Ross Grimsley. Remember that name, Ross Grimsley?
Ross Grimsley, 20-game winner for the Orioles, signed a contract with the Expos, I believe,
I think you're
and
right.
ruined had a bad shoulder and just I remember.
What ifs, but yeah, he was a big name player and a very good player too. So they're going to be there. And just today, our friends down at a Boys Dream Hobby Shop announced that May 17th, it's going to be on a Saturday. And let me say this, I thought Simatachi was down there on Saturday. I go down there to go to the card shop. Nobody's there. He was there on Sunday. So I messed up. But I know I'm falling apart. I had that hot bratwurst shot that stuff in my face. I wasn't thinking straight.
That'll mess up for years.
That'll mess you everything. But Brad, I mean, he amazes me. He's bringing in Cardinal catcher from the 06 World Series. Gary Bennett is going to be there signing stuff. So that's fantastic. I'm so glad he's going to be there. But that's May 17th. So all you fans can get your stuff together and go down there and say hey to Brad and to Gary. It's going to be a good time. So I thought I'd just mention that because Brad takes good care of us. He's got a great shop down there in Caledonia, and I absolutely love it. I was down there Saturday, the day before the Simatachi thing, and I bought some cards and stuff. So here it is, the Heritage. They're 2025, but they look like the 1976s. It's today's players. All right, here we go. Colorado Rocky, Drew Romo, and that gives you an idea of what those cards look like. They had the little player in the corner. It's this rookie card. And I tell you what, that purple of the Rockies uniforms sure does look good on that card. And even the back of it it's the exact similar style of those 76 cards. That's some great memories right there. Me and you were youngins back in them day. New York Met, Mark must be watching over us because, man, we got a lot of Met stuff today. JD Martinez, right there. Very good career, and I like that card a lot. I like the colors. Chicago White Sox, and maybe we'll talk about it next week. They're not having much. I don't know if the record's better or worse than it was last year, but Lewis Roberts Jr. from the White Sox, right there he is. This also looks like the stolen base leaders cards from 76, but it's the American League stolen base leaders, and there they are. I see Jazz Chisholm and Jose Ramirez and Jose from Tampa Bay, that kid Calabero, who led the American League in stolen bases last year. I like that. And it's got all the top stolen base guys on the back of the card. That's fantastic. A kid I fell in love with. I love this kid out there in Boston. Wilyer Abreu, the right fielder for Boston, who he tore up the Cardinals earlier this year. Yeah. Nice card.
Great throw.
Yes. Vince, I don't know why they have this card. I've never even seen this. And it's the all-rookie team. But look, it's my buddy, Mason Wynn. I love that card. Man, that's sharp. So glad he's one of our guys. A Cincinnati Red, and it's kind of a similar thing. Novell Martel from the Reds. That kid looks pretty good, too. I think he's over there playing third base. And finally, I can't believe I got this one. It's a guy you might have heard of, Vince, for the Dodgers, Yamamoto, the pitcher.
Yeah.
There he is. He's very good. And by the way, Paul Skeens outpitched him. It was a pitcher's duel. And I'm telling you what, that Paul Skeens showed up and took care of business. So I don't feel sorry for the Dodgers at all. But anyway, that's those heritage cards. I kind of like them a lot. I might try to put that set together. That's what I got.
When I was a kid and I would open the cards, before I would look at the names, I would shuffle through them real quick, and I would look for two things. I would look for the All-Star, or I would look for the Rookie Cup. That, because I wanted to see, because I knew those were going to be the big names. And so, yeah. Okay, they're okay. Yeah. And then
that season, I must have got 35 Burt Campaneris. For some reason, every third pack I opened, Burt Campaneris. Tony Pruno said, JJ, I got something for you. And he had a mint 1976 Burt Campaneris for me. So I have that in my special baseball room.
Now, I do remember the first year I bought baseball cards, 76. I really started getting into baseball then. And I'm looking through the cards with my friend Phil, and I say, yeah, Jim Hunter, and I show him the card. He said, "Wow." I said, "It's just Jim Hunter." He said, "That's Catfish Hunter." I had heard that name. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I just thought his parents named him Catfish.
I'm with you too. I didn't know Jim Hunter for a long time. Very good. You're right. Most of us, all of us were like that back then, Vince.
Yeah, yeah. Well, JJ, next week we do have our panel. You want to be on our panel? Please get a hold of us. We'd love to have you on here. Love to get some fresh blood in here and just kind of yak about baseball. What we do, sit around
Heck
and
yeah.
yak about baseball and sometimes music. And every now and then, this is show 129, right?
Yes.
And I'd say about every 129 shows, we will drop in something about football, which we did this week. So that's it. So, JJ, you have a good week.
You too, sir.
All right. Take it easy.